Now, these MAGA men, these conservative men, are going to get more sneaky as we go along. So I want us to pay attention to all the other stuff, because they will tell you they're MAGA without having to say they're MAGA. Because it is a mindset. This inchmel, misogynist, hobosexual, whatever mindset is, it comes out through action. Since they seem to never want to just say, yes, I vote against you being a human and having rights and autonomy over your body because I secretly hate you because I'm jealous of you and resent you. They won't probably say that. So you got to pick up on the little things. Because if there's one thing that men are really good at doing is lying. Now, they may not lie to your face, although some have. There's men who literally are like lying to women and being like, yeah, I totally voted for Kamala. And then being like, actually, I didn't vote at all. Or, gotcha, just kidding, I didn't think. There's a woman on TikTok who said that he was like, I didn't think you'd meet up with me if I told you the truth. So they might lie to your face, but what they're probably going to do if they're smart, and by smart, I mean predatory and like, figure you out the best way to manipulate you, because they may be dumb as rocks, but they'll figure out how to prey on you, is lie through omission. Okay, so I'm not going to go in a deep dive on these people yet. Let me know if you want that. I know it's like over now. But I do want to say, I don't care how much she texted this man back and blah, 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 Nashville, this man is MAGA, okay? Clearly she has a low self-esteem problem. Clearly she is at war with herself, like so many of us have been, right? Like, I don't know, there's all these red flags, but he's nice. Whatever. As somebody who dated a hobosexual who seemed like a cool guy, he seemed very, alternative and progressive. Oh my God. He was the biggest misogynist I've ever met in my life. And all the things. He was as far right. I had no idea. He faked it so well. But if I'd been paying closer attention, he may not have come out and said these things. But if I had paid attention to how he moved through the worlds and how he avoided talking about things, right? How he spent his money, or rather how he relied on women for money. So I could have figured it out. I'm not saying this to victim blame myself. I'm saying they are getting better. We got to get better. They are getting sneakier. We got to be Nancy Farkin Drew at this point. This man literally played dumb when she said, what is your church? I don't know. And then after all that, she still wanted him to come to Nashville. Sarah, I need you to stop dating entirely, because you clearly have a hard time aligning what you feel and what you know is true versus social conditioning under patriarchy. You're on the pick-me spectrum like all women under patriarchy are. We all are. There's no way you're not a little bit on it. All of us are. But you got to stop dating. You're too in it. Now you're going for Joey, apparently. After all that, I know he came off as like a good dude, kind of, because he said all the right things, but clearly didn't like what's her butt. I still stand on my video criticizing that sister. I don't think she'll ever like anyone that her sister dates, because she needs to get married first. But apparently Joey tried out for The Bachelor at some point. Like, what? It's crazy to me that men think that women don't Google stuff. How do men not? Y'all must not understand that we all secretly work for the FBI. We run background checks on y'all. We can figure out where you went to college, if you went to college. We know how to research you. And these guys will go on the show and think no one will know any of their background. Even this dude, Alex. Holy crap. If you haven't watched her video yet, story time. Oh my God. Let me get out of the screens. She has 2 pinned videos on her TikTok account. This man is a sociopath. He literally says he thinks he's one, and he goes after, like, this man is terrifying. Everything was a lie. He was not a dork in school. Every season, Love is Blind puts terrifying men with serious allegations on that show. I swear. He has stuff out to get, like, a former school teacher who used to go after his now I'm going to get into it in just a second, but I just want to tell you that I'm doing a live with Jennifer Esposito. I cannot wait to talk to Jennifer about this movie, and Hollywood buried this movie. So let's fix that. And please join my Patreon if you like this. Patreon is where I'm basically starting to do my work. I do travel stories, personal stories, and all that stuff, but that's also where I interview amazing people, because I can't afford to like have my own podcast and stuff. So I'm just doing it. I'm doing these lives, and that's where I do all this work. And I love doing it. I get to be my journalist and talk to all these cool people. And that's what's paying my bills now. So thank you, Patreon, or Matreon, as Knitting Colt Lady says, for all your, this is brought to y'all by my Patreon people. Now, I already did a deep dive. I've talked about this couple twice now, because I really think that it's very relatable for a lot of women who are successful, ambitious, who've done so much to build a life for themselves, or, you know, strong, independent women who also, we oftentimes tend to go for losers. Either they're mean and, you know, are like, you know, the bad boy or the jock, or like, or like have money, whatever, but they're like not good to us, right? Or we go for the nice guy who ends up also hating us, because they exploit the hell out of us, and a lot of times they are homosexual, and they seem nice, and we're not used to nice men. But you gotta watch out for these nice guys, because a lot of them think they're good because they just compare themselves to like rapists and serial unalivers, and they're like, well, I don't do that, and I love women, so I'm a nice guy. So they never question what they do. But a lot of these men who are very nice to us, they're financial abusers hiding. This man would have ruined her life financially. And as I covered in the other videos, his family was was so eager to have this woman, this successful marathon running, has a doctorate, like she's amazing. And she's gorgeous too. And they're like, hey, like, can our parents move in with you? You want to be a hospice wife to his parents? If he asked, what if he loses his job? Like, all the questions they asked was like, are you going to be able to financially support this guy who doesn't make much money and has $70,000 worth of shoes in his apartment, but is in debt and has student loan and medical bills, but wants to be a dad real bad? This would have been the worst possible thing to happen to her life. A relationship with this man who is that financially irresponsible, who is conservative and doesn't believe in abortion of all things, including other important feminist stuff. And then also like married into a family with that mom, by the way, at the wedding seemed, as a white woman, I speak white woman, her reaction, I was like, oh, Virginia, woo, you dodged a bullet. Dare you say no to my baby boy? You were supposed to be the breadwinner and the laborer for my family. I don't know, maybe I'm projecting. But where I grew up, you have to read subtext, white woman subtext. You can tell what they're saying by the subtext, because we don't say outright what we mean almost ever, unless we're like working on this. And I really think she was pissed that her king baby, her little prince, was not going to be offloaded on a very successful woman that the whole family could take advantage of, right? There's also a race component in there. My mutuals have talked about that much better than I can. But as Cecilia Regina did a great video saying that they probably would not have expected a white woman to do as much as a black woman marrying their son. But go watch Cecilia Regina's video on it. So let's now recap this reunion, because she let him off lightly. You know, it's so funny, like she was still giving him grace at the end. She tried not to make him look too bad. And then when he just doubled down, she was like, okay, you know what? But what I mean by she let him off the hook, she basically was just trying to say, we're not in alignment, okay? We don't see eye to eye. And like I broke down those conversations with him, he is very much against. He is definitely voting MAGA. There's no question about it. And you can go back and see the videos before for how I break down exactly how you like understand what he was saying without saying it. She basically straight up said that she is not going to speak for him. She's not going to tell us what he thought politically. She clearly knows. But basically, I'm not going to say what he believes, right? Okay, so I'm not going to go into every single phrase. It'll take me too long to go over this. So basically, she said, I believe in religious freedom. I have Muslim members of my family. I believe everyone has basically the right to worship whoever you want, and you're not better than other people. I believe she said she supported LGBTQ plus abortion. So she basically was like, I'm not going to tell you what he thinks. Here's what I think. Brilliant, because we just have to go. And she kept saying like, I don't see us aligning. I'm not going to tell you what he thinks, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And that was brilliant because, you know, if she had accused him of being those things, we don't have that on camera, she would have looked bad. So smart. She kept saying we got there emotionally, but ultimately we don't align. Then this guy had the audacity to say, well, for me, I can look past certain things. This moral superiority that not just him, but a lot of the people on like the right who hide behind religion for their bigoted ideas will say, well, I love everybody. Love is love. Can't we all just get together and sing Kumbaya, even though I actively am harming you in all these ways, not only in the voting booth, but like exploiting your labor and, you know, using you for money. I can look past that. Any man who says this stuff that makes it seem like you're crazy or you're small-minded or you're, you know, like somehow arrogant or not as good as them because this stuff isn't important. This is exactly what Ben was doing too. Oh, you know, why can't we all just get along even though I actively harm you on a regular basis with what the policies I vote for? Not to mention what these men are going to do in your home to you, but just the vote alone. And especially a black woman, the least protected human on earth, but especially in the United States. Oh, he can look past it. He can still love her, despite her believing in her own human rights and the human rights of people. Why can't she love him for being a bigot? And I think you can be together and have a relationship and not completely agree on everything. And see, this is gaslighting right here. If they say we don't have to agree on everything, they are gaslighting you. Certain things are non-negotiable. If you do not think that she should be able to have an abortion, in United States 2025 version, where, you know, Roe v. Wade is and how dangerous it is for a black woman to have babies in the United States with the rate of mortality rate at least three to 6 times higher than it is for white women. Giving birth alone is so dangerous. But for you to be like, why? We don't have to agree on everything. This made me so mad. I think a big thing with me as a Christian is to love everybody. Can't we just but you don't love everybody. You love yourself and you love having power over her. Shut up. And, you know, regardless of like how I feel about something stupid like abortion or the right for people to love each other regardless of their sexual orientation, gender, and all that other stuff, like whatever. I think you can be together and have a relationship as long as I'm in charge. I don't understand what her problem is. I love her face during this. She said so much without having to say anything throughout this whole final reunion, whatever. So then Nick, one of the worst interviewers of all time, who rarely asks hard questions, is like, you knew about some of those things through the process prior to the prenup being signed. Something that happened. Now, again, I will say that it doesn't surprise me. Again, it doesn't surprise me a lot of them make it to the altar because we don't know what kind of consequences they have for not making it to the altar. And also just remember, they are completely isolated from their families and friends for a really long time when they're in the pods and when they're on their honeymoon. The only time they have access to their support system that could help them talk through this, because women are going to gaslight ourselves so much, right? So much. I mean, some of us more so than others. They literally, it's a show about letting a man love bomb you without your community. Like, that's what the show is. It's going to love bomb you and say a bunch of bullshit. And then you have like a few weeks to parse out what's true and what's not. I get how women get fooled by these men sometimes, because also, as somebody who was, an outdoor adventure guide, and also worked in the film industry, when you go through something really intense with someone, you automatically feel a bond, okay? Whether it's in the wilderness and you're getting pummeled by rain and lightning and you're afraid you're gonna die together, or on a film set where you work 12-hour days for like months on end and you're sleep deprived and you have some of your highest highs and your lowest lows. When you come out of it, you feel so close because of this unique experience that no one knows what it's like who wasn't there. It is the perfect setup for women to like really have a hard time reckoning with their intuition and their emotions and all this crap, okay? So I actually have some, I feel I extend more grace to them than maybe somebody who is just going through this in the normal world. Just that added element of isolation, intensity, and this unique experience, I think that puts 10 times more pressure and also opportunities to gaslight yourself than you would in the normal world. So the fact that she still said no, despite, bringing her family, they bring their families into this. That's got to be so embarrassing. They sign up for this, but I honestly don't think most of them truly understand what they're signing up for. It doesn't matter how many, they kind of know, but I don't think they know what it's like. And I just say this as someone who talks online about stuff all the time. If you have not been online and had people talk about you, it's really hard to know just what it's like to have people discussing your life, your hair, your voice, everything about your life. But for your relationship, I can't imagine playing out an awful relationship in front of everybody. Yeah, they get platforms. Yay, maybe they have, whatever. I can't imagine in any world this ever being worth it. Seriously. Even being on the show, people are like, why are you there? Especially because each season keeps getting worse. Men are getting more and more dangerous. When they ask, I'm saying all that because I just want to keep that in mind. We don't know what it's like to be in this intense experience, cut off from everybody and being love bombed that harsh. Like that. They are nuclear love bombed in isolation. Do have each other in terms of the other cast members, but they also kind of don't because, he wants to know, was there something else that threw you for a loop? Yeah, there's these other signs. We weren't the perfect match. The night before the wedding, I went to his hotel room, saw a note from the ex-girlfriend on his nightstand. There was no mention of him seeing that girl. We spent the whole day together. It created some time. It shocks me how they will still be filming and they can't wait. They can't wait to go out and remember that dude just was engaged to that girl. Which one? This happened so much. And he was just out forking some other cast member and he left the location on it. God, can't you wait? God. He's like, oh yeah, but I didn't really see her as my ex. I just love, every time they panned over her, I loved watching her listen to him justify ridiculous things. We went to high school together. He's part of the wedding party or whatever. I get his excuse or whatever, but I am sorry. It's not that people can't be friends after they date. But when it comes to men, you gotta be very careful who they're friends with, because even if they're not hooking up with them, a lot of times they are still having those female friends in their life as free emotional labor. So anyway, he was like, we went to high school together. I don't see her as my whatever. Ooh. That could be true, but dude, why? Whenever men just conveniently don't tell you something, if it's once, okay, maybe you forgot, but he conveniently didn't tell her who he voted for. He was not going to talk about politics until she asked. This man was like, this is the kind of man, and so many men do this. So many men do this. They will literally lie to your face through omission about everything until you say, who was that girl? What was that about? And even if they're not trying to hide something, this is part of their emotional intelligence, right? So if he was really thinking about her and there was nothing going on, he would have said, hey, I met up, like you tell that person. Of course, they'll still do that if they're sneaking around to try to cover their tracks. So it's hard to figure it out. And he's like, it had nothing to do with our relationship in the past. It had everything to do with her just being proud. Everything that went on and happy. I found her. Okay, sure. Show us the text. And he basically was like, well, she met her. She's like, yeah, we met, whatever. And then Vanessa was like, did you know at the time when you met that they had dated? Nope. Did not know that. Which again, there's nothing to hide. Like so many men will even try, they will not tell you something because they're afraid you're going to be suspicious. But by not telling you now, you are suspicious. They will do anything to avoid conflict. Anything at all. Anything at all. I was told by his mom, she also told me about that check. Like, there's something about, I guess his mom doesn't realize how much he just lies through omission, because she would not have told her this if she knew that, unless she secretly wanted to sabotage this. I don't think so. She seemed, very angry that Virginia did not choose her boy. Little king baby, right? We know so somebody made a good point too. Like, they're asking Virginia to be okay with the parents moving in with them when they get old, which is fascinating because usually that falls on the sister. That almost always falls on the daughter, right? The daughter is always, so the son was like, we're not, are you gonna be okay? And the daughter, like, the fact that they were asking if this woman could take care of the parents, this woman who is not in their family. Like, anyway, y'all. So she ran into the mom at a basketball game. Oh, wait, was this about the check? I don't know. I think her mom told her about the girlfriend and this check. Because look at this. The mom was really happy. Did Devin tell you that my boss gave the $1,000 check? She mentioned that at the wedding as one of the things that had really thrown her for a loop. Because that right there says, hobosexual. Hobosexual. He's the man who, well, like I went over in that other video, wanted to have shared bank accounts. He's like, what? So are you thinking we should have like a separate one and a shared one? She said, no, separate ones. And then she's like, oh, by the way, prenup, right? So she's already like, having hard discussions about money and even saying that she would pay off some of his debt, right? And she's even said, like, I guess I'm going to have to deal with some of these shoes. And then the moment he has any money, he keeps it a secret, doesn't tell her. That's a gift for both of them. And he kept it a secret. That is very hobosexual of him. It was a wedding present, not a Devin present, a wedding present. And she never heard about that check. Still, on this day, never brought it up. Hit his face like, it was just very weird. I'm not saying he pocketed the check. Oh, that'd be being very gracious. I love the way she just kept planting seeds, but being like, you draw the conclusion. Love it. Because we know if she'd just gone like, like people be like, whoa, she, especially because of racism, that, and like the racist misogynoir and the racist tropes around angry black woman and all of that crap that she would be burdened with. She's playing it very cool here, right? She's playing it in a way so that it doesn't look like she's like attacking him, but is giving us just enough information to make it very clear. So smart. And I love that she added this, because people could be like, well, it's like he may just never. No, I talk to this man multiple times a day and we sleep in a bed together. So it's weird it did not come up. I mean, $1,000 from one person? I don't know. To me, that's a lot. I don't know. Is that normal for a wedding present? To me, I'd be like, wow. When we got married, I was like excited when someone gave us like $50. I was like, oh my God, right? $1,000 is a big deal. And he just never mentioned it. They see each other every day, sleep in the same bed. So I'm glad she added this because this was lying through omission. I need women to understand how much men lie through omission. And even if you go and ask them outright, they're like, what? And they still try to withhold as much as they can. You got to ask these men directly to their face everything. Who did you vote for? What day? Where? Like boom, 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 boom. I'm telling you, Nancy Drew. 2025 is the Nancy Drew energy. So they're like, so Devin, why didn't you tell her about the check? And you're like, oh, well, so when my mom gave me the check, I was just holding on to it, until we actually got married. Until she is locked into me, until she's proven that honestly, Virginia should still get half that check, but whatever. When we're married, we're together. This man wanted to lock her in. Babies. He would have baby trapped her. Prenup or not, this man could have absolutely financially abused her so much through his tennis shoes, right? Through his she's going to be paying for everything. She's not going to go down in her lifestyle because of him. So she's going to be paying probably 2/3 of everything or even more. He wanted to lock it in before he even let her come near that $1,000 he had. To him, he's like, this is 1.5 pairs of shoes. Or 1.5 pairs of shoes. And he's like, oh, I'm for sure who I want to be in my relationship. I know I wouldn't hide anything from her. But you did. You had your politics. You never talked about anything until she outright asked you. Go watch that if you haven't. The way she had to be like, so let's talk about bigger stuff. Let's talk. And then finally was like, can we talk about politics? The man would just avoid. No, we've talked about everything. Can we talk about politics? And then she talks about the birthday. Okay, this is another key, y'all. It's not about the present itself. It is about what's behind it, okay? Some people don't. I like to do something on my birthday, but I don't really care about presents. And I actually find it very stressful to find the perfect present. And maybe that's because of perfectionism or something. Anyway, everyone has a different relationship to birthdays and presents, but I want you to understand how selfish this man is when it comes to presents, okay? He is not thinking of her. He's thinking of me, right? Me, and then she's a part of me, right? So she bought him a birthday present. I spent a lot of time making it really a thoughtful gift. I put hundreds of dollars of gift cards in it. Oh my God. To all his favorite places. See, now that is very thoughtful. She knows his favorite places. It's not like she just gave him cash. She literally gave him gift cards to all the things that she paid attention to. It was like, oh, he loves this, he loves this, he loves this. Hundreds of dollars in gift cards. That sounds awesome. I put his school colors on it. Well, she already learned from that dumb present he gave her. More on that in a sec. Cakes. There's plural there, okay? There's an S on that. Balloons, the whole thing. I would have loved to seen a photo of this. And when I got there, I asked him to come down and help me with it. And he was like, can't you get it? And there it is. There it is. These conservative MAGA, Inchmel, all these men, they all traditional, this man wouldn't even help her carry a cake and balloons, his own present. He probably wouldn't even open the door for her to, they want a trad wife, which is a fantasy. They don't exist because this is even more frustrating. I can't figure out which is worse. The woman who doesn't have access to money because he makes her, or the woman who is burdened with all this financial responsibility and goes into debt and bad credit and so much of her life is ruined by the man just stealing it all, but then treating her like she doesn't work. And then when he came down, he was like, you could have got that. This is why the 50-50 thing in the conversation is such a red flag. They want all the privilege of being a man from a time when women couldn't buy stuff, couldn't own houses, right? Couldn't get a line of credit, couldn't open a bank account without their daddy or some man signing for them. Want those times of you having no rights, especially to abortion, but somehow still making all the money and doing everything for yourself. And they literally don't have to lift a finger. They don't even have to get off the couch. It's win-win, baby. And then he did all this to make her feel bad for airing out his dirty laundry. I speak highly of Virginia to this day when I talk about her. I think that she's a great person. And just because it didn't work out between us, that doesn't make me feel some type of way or resentment towards her like she is towards me. I mean, God, can y'all hear this? She seems angry. Or, sorry, resentful. Do you see what he did there? Resentful. Trying to paint her as, and again, remember, this isn't just, like women in general are not allowed to be angry, but historically in the United States, that trope is weaponized against black women so they can never be legitimately angry about anything without falling into, right? So he just said resentment. Oh, look at me. Peaceful, calm man. She's doing all this, making me look bad. I feel I'm a good Christian. Oh, anyway, so this is when I think she was like, you know what? I'm tired of being nice. I'm done. I'm not going to be so nice. Because at this point, she has to defend herself. Because that was shots fired right there. But I love the way she did it. This is a very interesting character that I'm seeing today. Because I haven't felt love or respected in the last year. Yes! Well, but I wanted to be with her after. But our conversation showed, I don't think she wanted to be with me. Look at her being like, so basically this man just keeps saying, I want to be with her. And she's like, I answered them. But we had multiple conversations and then every conversation was like this. So then she's like, no. He stopped talking to me completely after the wedding. I called him for about a week and he stopped answering my phone call. Now again, I think what Sarah did is like, Sarah, you need to have some respect for yourself, especially because everyone gave her so much credit for standing on her principles and not hooking up with a MAGA despite having a lesbian sister and it being so important to her. And, he doesn't care about Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. Like, she just overlooked all these things. And then at the end, I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, at least you didn't, you said no. And then she's like, moved down with me to Nashville. Like, why were you? But again, I'm just saying, I think of all the women who handled men who suck, Virginia did it the best. She did it the best. This is how you do it, right? Because now, Ben, I don't know, I've been seeing all this. I don't even want to talk about them, but this Ben guy is like, has receipts of their conversations, and now it looks like Sarah's lying about blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, I don't care. Sounds like Sarah does not know how to, follow her intuition and just keeps overlooking. And this is what white women do. We're like, well, maybe he's not me, even though he's very MAGA, very clearly MAGA, right? And still like, so I called him for a week. So I don't know. I would... And she actually addresses this in the show. And this is also a Black culture thing that I can't speak on, but from my understanding, because of the oppression of, being Black in America, you have to, there is a protection there that is very understandable, right? And it seems like a lot of Black men weaponize that against Black women. Like, how dare you? You betrayed me, right? And I just say this also historically because the color purple really triggered a lot of Black men, right? Because not supposed to ever talk about anything bad that they're doing to their wives and their partner because of all of the violence that white women have accused Black men of, and all of this the tropes against Black men, right? There's like awful racist anti-Black tropes, right? And so I actually understand why she may be kind of trying to play it in the middle, right? Like, she's trying so hard to not let this man look awful, and he keeps digging his own grave and trying to make her look bad. And I'm so glad that she stood up for herself and that her friends stood up for her too. She's like, he continued to go around and tell everybody that I ghosted him. And he's like, oh, she says I told everybody. Now he's calling her a liar. It's just not the case. And then Molly, if there's a girl's girl on here, it's Molly. Molly came in for, what's her face? The one who ended up with Dave. I really like that they had a friendship despite how that man tried to like triangulate them and whatever. I really appreciate how Molly handled all that. So she comes in, well, he told me that. Oh, I never said that. She ghosted me. Now he's calling Molly a liar. Oh, you definitely did. You definitely did. And then she's like, you told both of us that at the bar. I love this. She's like, don't call me a liar. Now you're calling him a liar. I got witnesses. No, I absolutely didn't say that. He could have avoided all of this if he hadn't kept firing shots at Virginia across that state. But he just couldn't keep his mouth shut. So then they're like, no, you said that, and that all three of us are wrong, huh? And then he's like, well, these two came up to me drunk, asking me all about my bit. Look at them. They're like, oh, here he goes. The audience was like, ah! She is so annoyed with him. He's just like, nah, you guys are drunk. You guys weren't involved at all. And there's this thing like, stay out of black people's business, right? And that's what white people need to do, right? We do this all the time. However, if there is a black woman being attacked, we need to not stay out of the business. If we have something that can protect her, like the truth. Like, I try to stay in my lane. I know there are a lot of white women follow me. I try to stay in my lane. I try not to comment on things I don't know anything about, which is why I'm always like, maybe I'm wrong about this, whatever. But I do know one thing. If you know that this man is lying, then no, you don't stay. Those women needed to say, no, you told us that. Don't accuse her of lying. You know what I mean? I don't know. Am I getting this right? Am I explaining this right? Maybe I'm wrong. But Molly absolutely should have spoken up. I'm glad she did. Because this man is trying to make Virginia look like a liar, like an angry, resentful woman. Like she's not a loving Christian, tolerant Christian like him, when she had every reason to say no to that man based on everything she found out about him. And they were like, no, you told us your business. I really didn't care. And he's like, no, you just came up to me asking questions and I gave you answers. I never, they just kept going back and forth. And then he's all like, okay, we had our conversations after the wedding. She reached out to me. Right there, he's making it look like she's so desperate. You know what? She's probably reaching out to you to make sure you're okay, bro. This is what women do. Even when we reject y'all, we're like, are you okay? They would never do that for us. But every time we talk, it was more like arguing about what happened. Look at her face, right? She is so annoying. Rightfully so. Arguing about what the ceremony, her family versus my family. Okay, what are you accusing of her? This is accusations again. Pay attention. These are accusations. I just felt like despite everything that just happened now, I think she's a great person and has a good heart. See, I am morally superior. I would never do anything wrong, even though I literally just tried to call all three of these women liars. Pulled all this stuff. I'm a good Christian man. She has a good heart. That's like him saying, bless your heart. It's like what white women say when we're being really mean. Bless your heart. I think she's a great person, has a good heart. That's right there. That's manipulation. That's gaslighting to protect his image. Look at her. Look at her face while he was doing all this. I wish she could have said everything she wanted to say, but maybe she did because this could be edited. But I don't know. I think she handles herself really well considering just this man was just boom, 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 boom. I just felt like our conversations didn't lead to anything. And that's why it didn't work out. I guess we can just move on from here. Now remember, we saw who this man was during this conversation with his arms crossed, telling her that his family votes conservative, that he's conservative, and she had to pull it out of him, right? So not only was he homosexual, he literally is MAGA. Worst combo, y'all. I think Matt is probably worse. I mean, look at her face while she's sitting through this. Then she listened to one sermon and it was like very anti-LGBTQ plus. I just also want to remind you that she bought him that birthday present. She bought him $100 of his favorite gift cards, favorite colors. What did he get her? A basketball. I love you and basketball. And then he put his last name, Team Buckley, right? And then, of course, he puts his name on it, right? Because, of course, she's going to be a Buckley. She has to give up her name. And then jerseys. I've already told you about my dad giving me and my sister football jerseys. Like this, if you ever get a jersey from a man, even if you like sports, if you ever get a gift like this, that man doesn't see you. He doesn't know you. He really doesn't care. He is the sun, and you are a planet orbiting around him. That man will treat you terribly. Even if it's just through indifference and whatever, he may not hate you, but he doesn't see you. God, this present made me so mad. He had two, right? One with his name on it, his number, his color from school, and then hers was their wedding date. And look at his face. Isn't this great? I really think he truly believes that he is a good husband material. I think this is just straight up delusion of entitlement and conservative right-wing upbringing, probably mostly from mom. And then he wanted, maybe we wear it for the reception or something at the wedding. I think I left this off. He gave her this as a present. It's all about him and basketball, which I've told you how much he's obsessed with basketball, and all of his fantasy of her being on the sideline, pregnant with a kid on the hip, cheering him on. This all he wanted was a cheerleader. I've already covered all this. And then he wanted her to wear that to the wedding. And she avoided it. She was like, yeah, I think I'll sleep in it every night. So yeah, even if his mom is asking you about you okay with his employment and him losing his job, about taking care of the family if they get sick, you literally just met these people. Saying all this death to us part, that is not for him, that's for you. You die taken care of. If you get sick, he's gone. He thinks you'll always be there for him and that you make his life easy. Run! This is the comment song, gospel choir, weekend edition. I did one yesterday with other photos of the horses and stuff. This is the stuff we ate first night. This is a crepe party. It's kind of like pancakes, but like crepes. You know what I'm talking. And you put jelly and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, that we stayed in a dorm in the this was the staircase, so cute. Danced until 3 in the morning, and had Mardi Gras, so they wore it's like Halloween. Anyway, everyone has petanque or baby foot. That's what they call foosball baby foot, y'all. Anyway, and ping pong, but there was too much snow. We stayed in this dorm, and I slept with 3 men in the room. I'm telling you, that was a little difficult because they all snore. This is the shower. This was the food. Don't come here if you're a vegetarian because it might be peu difficile. Anyway, this is a comment song and I show random stuff. If you made it this far, let me know. The gospel choirs, the comment song. Please join my Patreon. That's where I show more travel.